We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order for the November 2nd meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Let's all stand for the pledge and the invocation. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the blessings that we enjoy. We thank you for the county we live in and the dedication of our citizens to make it a better place for all. Lord, we pray for those that have the virus. We pray for those that have not got it, that they will stay safe. Lord, we pray that you'll guide us and direct us in the decisions we make, and the directions we take. We ask these things in your holy name. Christ's sake, amen.
Just everybody's looked over the agenda. There's no changes. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Motion second. All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0. Minutes from 10-5 meeting. I trust we've all looked over that. I hear a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, raise your hand. 5-0. This time we'll do public comment. If anyone, citizens, have anything to say, come forth and feel free to do so.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Jeff Smith, Sparta Lights, and just a brief announcement. On November 28th, we'll be turning lights on downtown, 6 o'clock. At 5 o'clock that evening, it's November the 28th in Krause Park, young ladies from the high school are going to sing some carols. We're going to have hot chocolates, some treats for the little ones. So we would like to see a lot of folks come out. Last year we had about 450. Hopefully we can do a little bit better than that this year. The parade's at 2 o'clock that same day. I think the Chamber's trying to work on some things to kind of give something to do in between it'll probably be 3 after the parade till 5. Try to keep as many people downtown as we can. But 5 o'clock, Krause Park, November 28th. We're going to light the tree at 6. Give away treats, hot chocolate, and sing some Christmas carols about 5 o'clock.
Main Street was 5.
Do what?
Lights on Main Street.
Well, we're going to turn that on at 6 when we light the tree in the park.
Okay.
So the girls are just trying to get everybody in the mood for 6 o'clock.
There you go.
Thank you.
What time's the parade?
I think it's at 2 o'clock that same day. We're a little bit closer to Thanksgiving. I think last year we were about 2 weeks earlier. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad, but we thought if we tied it with the parade, try to keep as many people downtown, then the Merchants Chamber could work something out and make a full day out of it. Thank you, folks.
Plan. Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
Anyone else have anything to say? If not, we'll move on to the presentation of the board section COVID-19 update. Ms. Jennifer Green.
Nice to see you all again. Thanks for having me. I just want to say we are continuing to monitor things here in Allegheny County, and we've taken a little uptick the last couple of weeks in cases. Nothing too dramatic, thank goodness, but we are continuing to monitor things at the health department. We've got 333 cumulative cases as of today, and 39 of those are active cases. There are people who are actively with the virus. We have 54 people in addition to that are being actively monitored, meaning they're getting a nurse to call and check on them, make sure that they're doing okay. Of course, that's always optional. We just offer that to people as an extra support. And then we have, sadly, one person who has died here in Allegheny County. I will note there is what we believe to be an error with the state dashboard that notes that Allegheny has 2 deaths. We believe that's an error, and we're trying to get that corrected. Our call center still answers calls from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. 7 days a week. We take about 100 calls every day from the public who have questions about different things about COVID. We continue to have a nurse on call every day, even during the night, just like we had pre-COVID pandemic. And that's there for our patients to use if we have folks who need help from a nurse during the night. And we have launched an online scheduling ability, so people can call us to make an appointment, but they can also schedule an appointment for testing online. It's real easy, and it's at our website, apphealthcare.com. Our test positivity rate has been ranging somewhere between 3% and 7.5% over the last month, for an average of about 5%. So we're right under the state test positivity right now, which is 6.2%. We want to watch that number. We don't want that to continue to climb, obviously, but I think that you all should feel good about the fact that we've been able to respond the way that we have as a community with the additional resources. I want to highlight a couple of things. One is we put out a weekly situation report. It comes out at the end of the week. And it's for the prior week, and it gives data about how many tests have been conducted, how many cases we have, kind of where we stand in general. And that latest report really talked about the fact that we have gatherings that are driving the number of cases that we have. So, I just want to, I sound like a Grinch before the holiday season, but just want to tell people, if you're going to be hanging out with others, to try to think about keeping distance, because we are continuing to see gatherings leading to lots of exposures. We have about 17 people who are working in case investigation and contact tracing across our district. And those folks, not just our employees, but they're also state-provided contract employees that we work through. And yesterday, we had what we believe was about 116 people tested at the fairgrounds, so thanks for your help with that. And we are continuing to think through how we're going to do testing over the winter months. Obviously, the wind has caused some additional challenges, and the cold temperatures, so we've been testing outside. If you haven't been for testing, we've had a tent outside, and the wind has damaged that, and so we're trying to figure out kind of what our next steps are going to be to manage testing for COVID over the winter months. I don't want to bore you to death, so I'll just stop talking here and see if you have any questions.
Do you have any questions, Bobby?
I think the information I had was, I believe, last Friday or something that I'd gotten from the health department. And at that time, I think you tested 4,803 people in the county.
That's how many tests have been conducted here. That's not just us, that's all the people doing testing.
And of those, 300 and some were positive, I believe. 318.
Yeah, that was as of Friday. We've got 333 right now that are positive.
But I'm just
pretty
going
close.
by Fridays
Yeah.
with these numbers. So we're at roughly 6%, maybe 5% of testing positive for the county as compared with the state.
Yeah, and that's something we kind of monitor along the way, because what we want to watch for is not just the percent positivity over time, but at a point in time, because what we want to make sure of is that, we don't want to have a big jump in cases where we start doubling up on cases that are positive. So the rate of increase of positive cases is also pretty important. I'm not concerned that we are surpassing what North Carolina's rate is, but I am concerned that if we get slack and we don't realize the importance of it, that we can quickly go the wrong direction. So it is important that everyone, I know everybody's tired of hearing me talk about COVID. I'd like to talk about something else sometime too. But it is very important that we try to make sure we're thinking about prevention.
Well, I think
one of my questions was to you the other day is, what's the recovery rate? And you said you really don't go to a recovery rate looking at the numbers of this 4,803. We're at 99.7%. I look at it as a recovery rate. But can you explain why the health department, the state, doesn't talk about recovery rates?
Yeah, I can. So I'd say that this is a new virus, and it's one we're continuing to learn about as it's studied more thoroughly. We have had patients that we have interacted with that have had lasting effects that aren't, or new effects from COVID that occurred after they recovered. So if you can imagine someone who is sick and then they get better from COVID and then they have a new heart problem that's discovered, I think that's what we're still learning about. So I don't want to make any judgment calls about what is or isn't happening, except to tell you that the state has put out a report. I think they typically do it every week, at the end of the week, about the total number of North Carolinians that have presumed to be recovered. And it's presumed to be recovered because really that is a definition that a healthcare provider has to make. And it's partly because of what I just said, that we have people who, for whatever reason, have lasting effects, or people that have new problems that didn't have it before COVID. So I think we're still learning about what that is and what's causing that.
You keep, and all of us are tired about talking about COVID, but I think we're still looking at this group number of 25 people. Is that a general rule? Is that not to gather more than 25?
25 indoors and 50 outdoors is still the requirement. Of course, there's lots of guidance. So in particular, guidance about events and activities, different business guidance, and we are happy to consult on any of that if folks are interested.
Have you found any groups or instances in this county where we may have gone over those numbers?
I would say there are reported instances, and we certainly try to, if we have a concern with a repeated going over of the executive order limits, we will report that to law enforcement, and we try to educate the business owner. You know, our job in public health in general is to educate people, and it's to help them really know what's there for their safety. So we try to stay in that lane more so. We do have abatement authority for imminent health hazards, but it takes a lot to get to that point. And I think you may have heard about that happening in a church in Charlotte, but I just want to say that's a real special circumstance that has to be met, and something that would take a lot for us to do.
You're tracing. If you could just take a few minutes and go through, for an example, I test positive. Now, what do you do to me as to finding out who I've been around? How often do you call and follow up on the people that I've been around? Could you just explain how tracing works?
Yeah, we try to use contact tracing right now because it is the best tool we have in the toolbox. I will say we are all looking forward to a day where we have a vaccine and different surveillance tools to try to measure how COVID is spreading. But right now, contact tracing is what we're using. And so if you test positive, what is required in North Carolina is anybody who tests positive has to be reported to their local health department through a secure process that we use for all other communicable diseases. Like if you can imagine measles or mumps or other things, those are still reported the same way. And COVID is now a required reportable condition. So we get notified, and then our job is to reach out to that person. We ask some questions questions with a standard state questionnaire. It's not to get in folks' business. It's really to try to help protect their loved ones and the people they care about. And we ask questions about what they've done. And really, it's about when they were infectious. So you can be infectious 2 days before you have symptoms. And that's part of the reason why we push for prevention, because people aren't doing it knowingly. It's because you can be infectious and the virus hides. So we ask them questions and we get contact information for their close contacts. And those are people that meet the close contact definition. So it doesn't mean that you've just walked through a place. It means that you have had extended time with that person. And usually it's 6 feet or closer, 15 minutes or longer. Could also be other situations. Maybe you drank after someone or ate after someone. But most often it's household members, so people in your family that you're already around. It can also be people that you work with or people that you've been to a gathering with. So we try to take that information and then we call those people and we talk to them about the importance of being tested and quarantining. And we're still issuing quarantine orders from the health director, which we are allowed to do, to ask people to quarantine. It's not meant to scare anyone. It's meant to deter folks from just ignoring it because we want to keep the community safe. So it's certainly a larger contact tracing effort than I ever imagined we would be in. But we're all hopeful that next year will bring some new opportunities to turn the corner on this.
Have you issued several quarantine notifications for Allegheny County?
Yes, we have.
You know how many?
I could pull the number, but it's in the hundreds. I mean, it's
Okay.
pretty high. Now, whether someone follows that or not is another story. And I will say, again, our job is to educate people. It's to help empower them. It's to give them the tools they need. And we have people who just don't answer the phone sometimes. And, we try to reach out a multiple amount of time. And then after a while, we stop. And we don't continue to reach out to them if they don't want to talk to us. So
You finally get a hold of the person who tested positive in 8 days, 10 days, to see how they're doing?
Well, if the person answers the phone, our goal is to reach a positive case within 48 hours, really sooner if possible. We have an internal goal to try to meet it less and less time. Once we are notified, our team rapidly takes a list and we call people throughout the day. I think today the count of positive cases throughout the district that we had was about 44, and about 3 weeks ago it was about 80 or 100 a day. So it just depends on how many people we have, but the goal is to reach those people within 24 to 48 hours, and then we talk to them and we ask them what they would like. Some people don't want to be bothered, so we try not to pester folks, but if they want a nurse to call and check on them, or we're concerned about them because they sound kind of bad, they're short of breath over the phone, then we'll have a nurse call and check on folks more often.
Thank you.
Welcome.
For the farming community, of course, we all know the tree harvest is in full swing, a lot of extra laborers here. Is that number going along fairly smoothly, or how's that trending?
I think so. I want to knock on wood or something, but yeah, so far I think so. And we were very concerned about an outbreak that we had previously, but is now over. We are concerned that, a few cases can lead to a lot of cases quickly in that kind of setting, but I think we've had a lot of support to try to do outreach to those workers and through the growers, and we really appreciate that very much.
But any other questions?
Thank your staff for the courtesy and professionalism. They do a good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
We certainly appreciate what you guys are doing over there. That went real smoothly out there Sunday.
Yeah, I think
Testing
so.
side.
Yeah, they're doing a good job, but thank you for.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your, and tell all of the people that work up there, we thank them too.
Thank you. I will do that. I will do that. Take care.
Thank you.
Jennifer.
EMS Director Daniel Roten.
Evening. I'll start off by saying that Jen did mention that the tent got mangled out there over the weekend. Well, that tent did belong to me. or emergency management, so you'll be seeing a budget amendment for that in the next few weeks, I imagine. So anyway, I'm here tonight to talk about the funding that is being allocated to Allegheny County in response to, the earthquake. And so that money, that $24 million pocket we all heard of, well, I submitted the first invoice to the state on behalf of the county a couple weeks ago for that, in the amount of $246,595. That money is broken out and is intended for a few things, and I wanted to cover those for you real quick. The first item there is temporary housing, which is the travel trailers I think I had mentioned to you guys before, or campers. And those are intended to house people that are displaced, either currently or while we're repairing their homes, should that need arise. That's for 5 travel trailers to start with. Funding amount for that is $102,900 from the quotes. That would be coming from Jeff Johnson RV in Hillsville. Next item was $100,000 of what they're calling seed money, and that's intended to be used as an advance on repairs to the courthouse to get that project started. As I know, we've already had some expenses with engineering fees and things like that, so that gets that ball rolling. $25,000 to cover the insurance deductible from the county. $10,000 of that is intended for project management for the office that's going to be opened at the BDC, and that would be computers, furniture, phones, whatever they might need to support that office. And then $8,695 to reimburse the county for the response that we made, and that would be a county employee overtime, vehicle usage, and food that we bought for the engineers while they were here, and such things as that. Now, after having some discussions with Mr. Carter and with April Ham, our finance director, we kind of feel like it would be best to set that money aside from the general fund in another fund, because we do ultimately have to provide documentation for where all this is going, and we feel like it would be much easier to track it if it was held, in a separate fund. So I'm asking you guys for that. We've already gotten this money. It is here. I submitted the invoice a couple days later. It came by wire transfer, so it's here. But I'd like to have that set aside in that fund and have access to it to go ahead and start utilizing it in the way it's intended.
Motion for that.
I hear a motion. A motion and a second. A motion second. Any further discussion? Create a separate account. All in favor, raise your right hand. I vote.
This wasn't really on the agenda, but I kind of want to go ahead and bring it up while I'm standing here. I mentioned that we're establishing an office here in town, and there are a couple gentlemen from the Office of the State Budget and Management are going to be helping staff that office, and I'd like to introduce them to you guys tonight, and that's Dana Phillips and Richard Trumper. If you guys want to come up, I'll surrender the podium to them, and they can introduce themselves, and you can ask questions if you like. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Dana Phillips, and as Daniel said, we're with the Office of State Budget and Management. We're with the Disaster Recovery Section, and I'm very honored and proud to be in Sparta and Allegheny County right now, helping out with such a wonderful cause and to be part of this. We are establishing an office in the Business Development Center, and I want to thank the county for the support and helping us get that office set up so quickly. We're actually in there today. We've actually had a few residents come by and see us in there today. As a matter of fact, I believe Chairman Osborne came by a little bit earlier today, and we were not able to cross paths, but it was I'm sure we will as we move forward. So far, just so you'll know, we've already touched and impacted 16 families in the community. We've already gotten some checks out to these folks, nearly $200,000. As Daniel said, we've recently sent some money to the county, and you guys just approved that moving forward, and we certainly thank you for that and appreciate the partnership with that. We've also sent some money to the town. The town has recently received some money, and we're very excited about what's going on at the VFW. Rich and I had the opportunity to stop by the VFW yesterday and see that renovation and that work that's going on as well. So over the next several weeks, several months, we're going to be establishing our office. We're going to be reaching out to families. We have quite a list of families that have damage. We're doing everything from very minor repairs. And just to be transparent, there's going to be some complete demos and rebuilds, as I'm sure everyone in here is aware of. So we look forward to partnering with everyone and working together. And again, I would like just to compliment the county staff has been fantastic to work with, the individuals with the town. Thank you so much for allowing us to have this office space. And if there's anything we can do, please let us know. And I'm going to turn it over to the construction manager, Mr. Rich Trumper.
Thank you, Commissioners. Actually, I'm not going to add much to what Dana had to say. I think Daniel's been part of a discussion with our office, my boss, Nels Roseland, who's helped put this together. I know we'll be putting a grant agreement on your desk here shortly to lay out the rest of the terms on how that money will be used. It should be forthcoming from our attorney in the coming weeks. But again, we're here. We're going to run Sparta Recovery from Sparta, not from a cubicle back in Raleigh. We're looking to hire a full-time administrative person from the Allegheny County area. We've got 2 interviews lined up for tomorrow afternoon for that. So somebody from Allegheny County will be the intake person for our office moving forward. I do really appreciate you guys, Mr. Carter, having us in your office and his team helping us get set up. But again, if you need something, I think you gentlemen have got my business card. That rings straight through to my cell phone if you need something. Please do not hesitate to call, and we'll see if we can't get you some good answers. Thank you.
We certainly appreciate what you guys are doing, coming up here and setting up housekeeping up here means a whole lot. That says a lot instead of doing, like you said, out of the office in Raleigh. That's worth a lot. Appreciate you guys.
Mr. Chairman, if I can add one more thing. Right now, our office hours are going to be beginning at noon on Monday, running through noon on Friday. We'll do that through the month of November. By December, we'll be open probably 8 to 5 Monday through Friday at that point. I intend to be here most Mondays through at least Wednesday or Thursday of each week. Sometimes I'll probably be here through Friday as well. So not only are we going to have an intake person, I'm going to be up here quite a bit, and I'm sure Rich is going to be coming up to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing as well. So we're going to have a presence, and we look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
how long do you anticipate this office being in place, just roughly?
It's a $25 million pot of money. Between $13 and $14 million of that is earmarked for residential repair work. That's not going to happen overnight. We're not going to be here any less than 18 months. Realistically, it's a 2 to 3 year window. If we can spend the money a whole lot faster, obviously that's the goal. But through the end of 2021 at the very minimum.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Moving on down, general fund budget amendment, COVID, grant monies and COVID.
I believe we need an explanation on that, Mr. Chairman. I will make a motion that we approve. Never turn down free money.
There you go. Got a motion, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion second on free money. All in favor, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0. Thank you.
And then we have another one for Board of Elections that's free money also.
I will make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion to hear a second. Motion and second. Any further discussion? Not all, raise your right hand. 5-0.
Come back anytime.
So saying you need to thank Sherry
More
for,
free money.
yeah.
Keep it coming.
She took the initiative, especially on that second one, to get some extra money to help with the election, so.
Certainly appreciate that. Certainly do.
Chairman, can I ask just so Sherry can explain what that second one is, so that maybe you guys know? Sherry, you care to share with them what we're getting?
State sent us out a notice for, it's a grant called Center for Tech and Civic Life. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Sorry. Habit of wearing it for the last 2.5 weeks. I was awarded $7,157 for my part of the grant, and it can be used for anything related to the COVID-19 that is needed in addition to what can't be spent out of the CARES Act fund. And one thing what I'm pushing for to get is a cargo trailer with a ramp on it. Right now, I'm having to rent a truck to move all of our voting equipment. And all that I can get here in Sparta is one with a little trail this wide to move all that equipment with. So I want to get a cargo trailer, and I'm going to have so much to store after this that I don't have anywhere to store it. So a cargo trailer would really help us out.
Does that trailer need to be at least 6 feet tall on
Yes.
the inside?
Yes.
At a minimum?
At a
No,
minimum.
let's go a little higher than 6 feet. You bump your head on 6 foot now.
Has to be a little more because to allow for the slope of the ramp to get those big carts that we have to move up, it really needs to be about 6'3". And when I went ahead and filed for that when the state sent it to us, and I think most counties received an award somewhere around $1 or less per registered voter at that time.
Where are you going to store it?
Well, we're working on that. We're working on that. I've had a conversation with Mr. Carter and some of the maintenance guys, and even with Bill, and we've not really come up with that yet, but we're working on it.
Do we know whether they will freeze or not?
What I'm going to store in it? No, it will not.
It's something we ought to check.
It's all going to be all that I'm going to store in it it won't be any liquid, anything.
Electronic equipment,
No.
stanchions and
Stanchion poles, voting booths, a lot of just extra PPE stuff that we had to purchase. And would y'all like an update? I was talking about it earlier from the voting. I went in the office and figured it after our absentee meeting at 5 o'clock. We had approved 734 absentee by mail ballots and 4,309 one-stop early voters for a total of 66.28% as of right now. We also had, since the March primary, we've had 444 new registrations.
Busy.
It's a little bit.
You've been deer hunting too, haven't you?
With my car, yes.
You have a license?
I have a license?
For deer hunting?
Yes, I do. Just not with my car.
It did do a pretty good job.
But I did get a
on it.
souvenir.
I saw
I got
that.
part of its antler.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Next is general fund budget for the COVID, number 4 for the COVID.
motion to. I thought we voted
I
on
think
that.
we've already done the free money.
I still approve of.
There you go. We're down financial report. Let me get back on target here.
Actually, we have number 4, it's for PEG money, for ACTV.
General budget number 5.
Just a little explanation about this budget amendment. This has in the past been pass-through funds. The county would receive it, and we would turn around and write a check to ACTV, Channel 50, Channel 21. The county manager did want some new procedures put in place, so that's why you're seeing that in front of you. We also had been having a discussion whether we were going to do this quarterly, which is how we receive the money, but we're doing it on a yearly amount, so that $82,000 is actually what they'll be receiving throughout the year, but we do receive it quarterly.
We need a motion on this.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion second. Any further discussion? Not, raise your right hand. 5-0.
I need to hand you a finance report. This is still a pretty simple report. Year-to-date revenue, $3,812,630.30. That is about 22.7% of our budget, the total budget. Year-to-date expenditures, $5,221,717.16. That is about 31.1% of the budget, and we're about 33% into the budget. Yes, the revenues are less than the expenditures. I will tell you that Sydney and I are still behind. Where there used to be 4 people, there's now 2. We are going to do interviews later on this week to have that third person in the finance office, and we are in the process of trying to consolidate duties. So our main focus has been making sure that we're getting AP processed, getting payroll processed, avoiding any kind of penalties and late fees. So we are still behind on posting revenues.
It's through October 31st.
Yes, yes. Okay. The bank balance as of today, $9,507,707.86. A year ago, the bank balance was $6,636,090.77. And I do have an unaudited fund balance for you. I know that's something that Commissioner Irwin has been asking for. Our audits are usually due October 31st because of the COVID situation. Our audits are not due till January 31st now. Sydney and I have both been sending electronic documents to them so they can get started on that, but they have not been on site yet. COVID situations and just timing between us and the auditors. I think they will be on site probably early December, but we are working with them electronically.
On the fund balance, if I may, do we have to make any other type of response to the state about our fund balance from our letter we got last December, or they make a request of us, or are they waiting to see what the audit is?
I think it's courtesy from the county to send them a response once we receive that. Not wait for them to ask for it, but be proactive and send them the information ahead of time.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, April. Appreciate it. So the next up is the award propane bid.
Make a motion to table until the mid-month session, Mr. Chairman.
A motion here, a second.
Second.
Those in favor, raise your hand. 5-0. Full oil bids. What's the feeling of the board?
How does it compare with last year?
If I remember correctly, the fuel oil and the off-road diesel remained the same, but the kerosene went up slightly. That was the conversation had with the provider of the bid.
Pretty good, myself. Yeah, I think it'd be good to go ahead and award the contract.
I have no objections. The only thing that I question is whenever we send out the request for bids, we ask them to put their profit in there. We're just looking at bottom line, asking to manage profit. That's I think we need to take that off the bid request in future. I thought we had done it last year.
Motion.
We have a second?
Take it off.
I will make that motion that we remove the request for profit margin.
Second that.
Motion second, any further discussion? Not, raise your right hand. 5-0. Motion to award the bid now. A motion by John and a second by Larry. Any further discussion? In favor, raise your right hand. 5-0. Telephone, internet.
And I'll be glad to speak to that. I had sent everyone the multiple attachments that we received for the telephone internet bid. There is work yet to be done on summarizing and identifying and providing clarification. So I would ask that you consider putting this off to your mid-month meeting as well.
Motion to table until the mid-month meeting, Mr. Chairman.
A motion here, a second.
Second.
Motion second, table till mid-month. Any other further discussion? In favor, raise your right hand. 5-0. Any manager's comment, moving on down.
The manager struggling.
Take your time.
So, a few comments tonight. First one, I think everybody has seen over the past 2 weeks what the impact of the one-stop voting has been, as Sherry identified earlier. I just wanted to recognize that department, that Board of Elections, and all the workers that were associated with it. They were down there for 2 weeks. It wasn't a time that I came down that they weren't professional. They were safety oriented. They knew exactly what they were doing. They greeted people well. So I just want to give them the recognition that they deserve. I think they were very good in what they did. Second is, it kind of goes with that, with the foot traffic that has been in and out of this building, and as well as the courthouse. I want to recognize our cleaning staff. Brenda and Dawn have really took off with that. And you can go around and you can ask departments, and they'll tell you what a difference is. And it's just simply amazing to hear department heads talk about how it used to be and how it is now. So those ladies, especially with the pandemic going on, and there's been multiple times that we've had to do deep cleanings of various spaces, I just want to give them some recognition too, because they have really busted it to get it done. I'm going to give a brief update on Veterans Park. As you're aware, there's been some improvements that have been approved for that park setting. The lights are in, the brackets are being made. I mentioned the last time that the monument itself had been sealed. Hoping to get the lights up and installed prior to the Veterans Day ceremony, and I know it's at the daytime hour, but nonetheless. The flagpoles are at the maintenance shop. In talking with the provider of the new camera system, with everything that's going on, they're tied up until December, so the new camera system will not be in place until then. And as you recall, those cameras will be mounted on the poles, so they're more or less, we're waiting to get that lined up. But improvements are coming. Certainly looking forward to that. The next item is, today we had a pre-construction meeting for I'm going to quit calling it the old Council on Aging, but I'm going to call it the future court facility. We had a pre-construction meeting there today. There were at least 3 contractors present. There were 6 names on the sign-up sheet, but I can only account for 3 contractors. But I think we've got some good interest in renovating that facility. It's on schedule, it's on track. I think once we get to the actual bid process, the award and the construction, I think it'll be a very nice facility by the time it's completed. Courthouse, we have the group, REI engineers, are actually going to be up here the second week in November to do a little more measuring and finalizing of the bid documents on the replacement of the roof itself. So that project is well in line as well, on track. I think overall facility-wise, I think hate to use the word rounding the corner, but that seems to be a popular phrase. I think we're rounding the corner on all these. So that is all of the manager comments that I have in front of me.
We back up and discuss the COVID-19 and our employees, safety for our employees. Is that allowable?
Under supervisor comment.
I think we need to do that. I'll mention that in my comment. Commissioner comments. I'm going to start right here myself with talking about county employees and COVID-19. I think it's high time we tighten up safety a little bit with the uptick in cases and number of people being monitored and the number of people that's in the county right now. I think it's a necessary thing to do with some of our high traffic offices especially, and get ways to help that out and keep those people safer. I don't know what the feeling of the rest of the board is, but I think we really need to take it seriously and look at this. About implementing steps to keep them safer. Anybody else have any?
One thought that, if I may, is we will have a department head meeting on Thursday. Perhaps it would be good to speak with the department heads about their thoughts and their recognitions and then maybe, and I realize that puts it off 2 weeks because you don't meet again until the second meeting in November. Collectively, I think this is something we should look at as opposed to just individually. And I'm more than happy to lead that discussion, and if you guys want to be there is fine, but from my standpoint, that would be one thing I would suggest, is that we utilize those department heads. Some have measures in place, some do not. Some have frequent visitors, some do not. So it's a collection to me, and that's where I'm at with it.
I think that's a good move. I mean, we need to get them all together, see their feelings, and treat them all the same. But I just think with the uptick and what happened last spring, all of a sudden, I think it's a good time to really think about this and keep our people safer. I'd like to thank comment time. I'd like to thank the Sparta Police Department, Sheriff's Department for the trunk or treat out last Saturday night. There's a lot of cars come through there, and they done a great job of keeping everything safe and moving right along. That was a big event. It was all for the kids, and we appreciate that. The streetscape projects had their ribbon cutting last Saturday, and that was a good show. A lot of the government officials were here, and I'm proud of what we've got up there. It looks good, and one of the businesses were open Saturday night, I think, till 10, 11, 12 o'clock. Done a pretty good thing right there, and I'm proud of what we got there. Our 4-H group, they went to Raleigh for a cash show and won second in the state of North Carolina. So Alleghany's shining one more time. That's all I've got. Mark?
I would just kind of like to echo the county manager's comments on the Board of Election, the staff, the department. They are really, they're really top notch. I mean, they really care about what they're doing and a good operation. The other comment I would have is, I think it's kind of a sad day when you look out across the nation and you see businesses boarding up their windows in anticipation of this election or the outcome. It all makes me all the more thankful of where I do live, because I don't believe we're going to have any of that. We do have some very passionate voters, but I think we'll respect everybody. And at the end of the day, we'll dust off and whatever's left, and we'll get up, and we still have a job to do. I mean, there's still needs that have to be met, and staff that need a board to provide for them, and other boards that'll be changing a little bit. And we just, I'm very thankful to live here in this county, and every time I leave it, I'm thankful when I get back to. So.
Talked about the early voting, and I know my mother came to vote early, and she can't get out of the car, and she said it was about 3 or 4 minutes by the time she pulled up, and my sister came in and got somebody that they were out there and voted her. She was very pleased with them. She said they were very nice to her. It didn't take just a couple of minutes to do it. So I think that I personally like early voting. You don't have to stand in line, come the day to vote. Way that we handle it in Allegheny County, maybe some of these other counties need to find out how we do it so they can get their acts together. But I was very proud of our election department. Other thing, I've had a chance to work with DOT on a couple of roads, and the DOT's been short money lately, but they've gotten some, and they done some outstanding work on some secondary roads that'll really help the school buses, the safety of those school buses. I know one ditch was about 400 feet long, and it was 6 feet deep in some places. We spent 3 days filling that ditch in. And now if a bus has to go over there, it's not going to turn over. Couldn't do anything about the other side because it's about a 15-foot drop, but at least they gave that bus a chance to get out of trouble. And that hill, and that road's on the north side of the hill, and it stays icy most all the winter. And so I'd just like to say thank you to the DOT and the team that they've got working there.
Echoing on what Mark said, it's a blessing where we live. It's good to be here. I compliment the citizens on the numbers that's got out and vote. That's their voice. So that's very important. It's a very important election, and I think we as citizens need to respect each other's opinion and each other's thoughts. There are going to be differences, but I think we are a very giving and very caring group. But let's not lose respect of respecting each other.
Mr. John.
I would also like to echo the comments about the Board of Election. It's an outstanding job. This is beyond all expectations. Over 66% of the registered voters have already cast their vote. So everything is unusual about this year. One of the things that I'd like to bring up to everyone's attention, and I got this last Sunday, every year we are losing 11% of our volunteer fire departments. Firefighters are either retiring or just giving it up and walking away. Volunteer firemen provide 70% of the fire protection in this state. It isn't unique to North Carolina. It's everywhere because volunteer firefighters get out there, they give their time, their money, their efforts, and they place their lives online for us for no pay. Local volunteer fire departments need volunteers. If not, it's going to go away. It's hard. It really is. You know, October the 23rd marked the 37th year of the barracks bombing in Beirut. I lost friends, I lost Marines that I had served, and I looked in that face and said, "It's your time, son, you're going on that med." 242 Marines died. We do not advertise. People don't realize the Army had a new counter-mortar radar. This was the first opportunity to check it in the field. 28 members, the training cadre for that Army counter-mortar radar. They went up with them. Don't count those in the 242. That's 270 lives that allowed you to vote. Thank you for voting. And with that, I would like to wish to Wes Brenniger and to Bobby Irwin a happy 245th birthday. You don't look a day over 215. Since November the 10th is the birthday of the United States Marine Corps. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'll make a motion that we go into closed session.
Got a motion here, a second. We got a request for closed section under General Statute 143-318.11.A-6, personnel. Include April.
Pro.
And Mr. Jordan. Thank you, guys. Thank y'all.